Welcome to the Healthy Communication Workshop Tools for All Relationships. My name is Sean Galanos, and I'm a love coach, the host of the Love Drive podcast, and a communicator. Communication is the best way that I know to connect to people. It's how we connect. It's how we build intimacy. It's how we build connection. It's how we are in relationships. It's how we let people know what's going on with us. It's how we connect. I don't know of a better tool than communication, than our language. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to explore how to communicate in a healthy way, how to communicate in a more direct way, how to communicate what you want, need, desire out of life. That's it. That's what we're doing here. The intention of this workshop is to learn how to communicate with clarity, how to be clear in what we're saying. I will share my best communication tools and practices, and we will learn from what I have to share and then also from what you have to share. And hopefully, I'll empower you to walk through your fears that are blocking you from communicating. That's the thing that stops us from communicating. Fear, because we're scared of a whole bunch of different stuff, and we'll explore that. So before we get started, let's just take a deep breath, all of us together. It's pretty cheesy, but it's also pretty beautiful. A lot of the stuff that we're going to do here is cheesy and beautiful. So let's take a couple deep breaths together. Let's do that again. And then power of 3. I've got a lot of energy right now. And it feels a lot like when I'm scared of saying something. This feels very similar to the fear that I feel when I'm about to have a difficult conversation. And sometimes I have to breathe through it. So this is a safe space. This workshop, the Lovebird Club, we're here to learn from each other. If you're watching this live, please chat. If you have questions, please ask questions. If something resonates with you, chat, because the chat log is actually really beneficial as I continue to build this workshop. If I can answer a question live, I will. And if I can't, I'll try to integrate it into the next sessions or in the resource document. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. But I encourage you or invite you to chat. And if you don't want to chat, don't chat. If you want to just turn it off because it's too distracting, then turn it off. It doesn't matter. You're not going to miss out. But if something resonates, then I really want you to like connect with other people. You won't be the only person that it's resonating with. And so there's opportunities here for us to connect through the chat feature. And also it's a way for you to ask me questions. If you do ask me a question during the workshop, type question in blocks, in caps before your question so that I can see it. It's hard for me to keep up with the chat. And I won't be able to answer everything, but I want to invite you to do so. So don't do anything you don't want to do. Anything you learn in here, if it doesn't resonate with you, if it doesn't feel good or feel right, don't do it. That should go without saying, but and this applies to everything in life. Now, that's not a reason not to do something because it's scary. And we're going to explore edges here. That's what we're doing when we're scared of communicating. We're getting close to an edge, and we'll talk more about that when I talk about fear. But don't do anything that doesn't resonate with you. I really want you to stay safe and to explore this content in a way that makes sense for you. There are no strategies that are right for everybody. I'm sharing with you what has worked for me and what has worked with my clients and what I've learned in these 37 years on this planet and through the relationships that I've had. So what might work for me might not work for you. That's the way it is. And hopefully there's enough strategies here that something will work and that we can connect with other people that also have other strategies. My perspective is just one of many perspectives. Unfortunately, it's the only one I have, which is why it's great to have this community so that we can share our experiences. And a lot of you have been doing that in the Lovebird Club on Facebook, and thank you. Some of this content is going to be obvious, super basic, stuff that you already know, and some of it will be brand new. Don't be shy to ask questions. Any questions you might have. I'm going to show you the resource document real quick, and I'll show you how to leave comments in the resource document. Resource document is a living document. It is for you to ask questions. It is for you to review. If something doesn't make sense, feel free to ask a question in the document. Let me just show you how to do that real quick. All right, so everybody has access to this. I will drop the link in the chat right now. You can pull it up now, or you can pull it up later. Doesn't matter. If you're on a mobile device, it's probably better to just watch the video because Zoom is kind of clunky on mobile devices. And I will share the screen when appropriate. This is the resource document. Basically, everything that we're going to talk about is in here, including, you know, the directions to take a deep breath. So if you don't understand anything in this workshop or in this document, highlight what you don't understand, hit the little plus comment button, and leave a comment. And I will reply to these within 1 or 2 business days. I will either add more context, I'll either reply to it, or I'll integrate it into the next workshop. So anything that doesn't make sense, either chat if you're watching this live, or if you're watching this as a recording at home, feel free to add whatever you want to this document. Don't make changes to the document. I'm pretty sure you have editing capabilities, but add a comment and then I can answer your questions. I really want you to ask anything. So if you want to try this now, you can. And if you have questions during the webinar and you're watching this live and I don't answer it, there's a good chance that I will take all of those questions and I will answer them in the document. And I'll say who they're from. So this is your document. Don't make a copy of it yet because the workshop is a month long and we will continue. This is a living document. If you make a copy of it, it becomes your document and then I can't add anything to it. So you'll have access to this in perpetuity. Oops, wrong button. So that's how you leave comments. I started a buddy list, a study buddy list for you all. In the document, there's a link for it. Actually, I'll try and drop it for you here. So basically, I want you to be able to practice this stuff. Here's the study buddy. So at some point, fill that out if you want to practice these tools. Ideally, you have somebody that you can practice with this at home. Hopefully, we're here because you want to improve your communication. You probably have some ideas of who you want to improve your communication with. So that's great. And if you want to practice this with other people that are learning the same stuff as you, then fill out the study buddy sheet and find someone on there that's willing to practice. And I can show you what that looks like. So can everybody see this? Can I get a thumbs up from Somebody, yeah, okay, cool. So fill in your name, your profession, if you want, what type of communication you want to work on, right? So I want to focus on being better about asking for my needs to be met. I need language. This is where I live. This is how you can get a hold of me. This is what I'm available for. So I would like some accountability and someone to practice saying exact phrasing. And my relationship status is partnered, don't have any kids, and my notes are, please don't pick me as your practice partner, choose somebody else. And are you available as a study buddy, yes or no? So if you find a study buddy, then you can change that to no. I'll leave this up to you. This is, if you want to practice these tools, this is a resource for you. So support options for this course. Obviously, you can leave questions in the document. That's one option. You have the Lovebird Club. You can post, share, comment. Everybody who has access to this workshop has access to the Lovebird Club. If you're not on Facebook, I'm sorry, it is a private group. I'm not a huge fan of Facebook, but it's the easiest tool that we have access to, generally speaking. If you want to start an account just for the group, that's fine. I wish I had a better option for you, but unfortunately at this point, that's what we have. So I really want to invite you to use that group as your own and to post questions that you have either about this workshop or about what you're struggling with or what your challenges are, what you want to improve on. And chances are you're not the only one that's having this experience. So use the club, really do. I added an optional Q&A for this workshop. So the last Thursday, same time, last Thursday of this month, there will be a 60-minute Q&A. If you have a question that is particularly challenging that I can't answer in this context, I might ask you to come to the bonus Q&A. And anybody who has any questions, come to the Q&A. It'll be more conversational. I'll unmute you and you can tell me what you're working on. We can sort of we can break it out and figure it out that way. So that support is also available to you. And if you need private coaching, I'm available. You can go to my website. All the sessions are discounted for the month of April. And lastly, I need your feedback for this workshop. It's incredibly helpful for me. And I also would love to have your feedback after every session. And I know not everyone's going to give feedback, but if you're in a position to give me feedback, it's really, really helpful because I can implement your feedback in the following sessions. So you can have a say on how I run this thing to a certain degree. And so I really want to invite you to leave me feedback. It's super helpful. And then there's also an opportunity for you to leave testimonials. And here's the feedback form link. If you want to just click on this right away, then you'll have it open for once the workshop's over. I just dropped it in the chat. Okay, so that's sort of the administrative portions of this workshop and how I'm going to be running it. I'm going to share with you a little bit about how this is going to work, how these sessions are going to work. Today is all about courage and overcoming fear. This is the day where you get permission to start asking for what you want, to start building the life of your dreams. This is a very crucial part of the workshop. We can't move on to tools, tips, skills, strategies, structures, frameworks until you integrate day one. I could give you all the tools in the world. If you're too scared to use them, they're useless. Every single person is asked for either tools, tips, skills, tricks, structures or frameworks, or examples or scripts. Every single one of you. So I heard you loud and clear. You will all get that. You will all get that. And all that stuff is useless if you can't move through your fear. It's useless. The toolkit will stay unused. And so that's what today you will get permission. You will get permission from me. You don't need it, but you'll get it. Permission to start asking for what you want, asking for your needs to be met, telling people what you want and what you don't want, telling people what you don't like. This is that day. Today is literally just a fucking pep talk on how important it is for you to move through fear in a safe way, in a way that makes sense for you, and start asking for what you want. Are you ready? Let me get a thumbs up if you're ready. Nice. I almost swallowed the tea bag. Okay. I got a story for you. We'll start with the story. A few months ago, I nearly said goodbye to the love of my life. I'm in a relationship with an incredible woman. The woman that I've been sort of waiting for, and I don't believe in the one, but I told myself like a few years ago, the next one will just be the one. I will just pick her and then that's it, you know? And so this is that person. And a few months ago, I almost said goodbye to that person because she went on a retreat. And sometimes when you go on a retreat, you have a transformation. And she had a transformation. She'd always been hesitant to call me her partner. We were sort of like slowly building up to it over a period of 2 years, very long transition. And she had this epiphany. She called me when she got back from this retreat and she said, baby, I am so ready to move forward with you, to call you my partner and to build a life with you. And I was like kind of blown away, obviously really excited. And it felt really good to finally hear that from her. And I never pressured her to be any more to me than she'd ever wanted to be. So I was open to her taking her time. Some people take longer than others. So she shares this beautiful news with me. I'm sort of like filled with joy and excitement. And maybe a minute later, she said, I also had this other epiphany that I'm still in love with my ex and I want to be in partnership with her as well. It was really hard to hear. I got like a minute of joy and then this other news that she both wants to be in a relationship with me and somebody else. And I said, okay, we talked about it a little bit more. And I said, I'm going to need a couple days to think about it. And those couple days were filled with anxiety and dread and fear and pain and sadness. Couldn't sleep. Just a lot of like nervous energy. And I thought to myself, oh, is this something that I can do? You know, would I be more enlightened if I said yes to this situation because I'm practicing non-attachment and, you know, polyamory and all that stuff. And at some point I realized, no, actually I can't do this. This isn't something that I'm willing to do. Can't do this. I called her back and I said, baby, you are the woman that I want to be with. I want to have kids with you. I want to build a life together. And I support you 100%. If you want to be in a relationship with your ex, that means that I will remove myself from this relationship. The one thing that I wanted more than anything. I said, if I am going to continue to open my heart to you and to explore intimacy and to deepen our relationship, I won't be able to do it if you're in a relationship with somebody else. I won't feel safe. And so I support you. I support whatever you want because I want you to be happy. And if that's what you want, if you want to be in a relationship with her, then I will remove myself from this relationship because that's what I need to do to take care of myself. So then she had 2 days. And I just want to highlight that as soon as I made the decision to say that, all of the anxiety went away. The fear went away, the nervous energy went away, and I was filled with sadness, absolutely, total sadness, because I was actually pre-mourning the relationship. But also lightness and clarity. This is what I want. Now, long story short, we're still in a relationship, so you can figure out how that ended. I had to do that to build the kind of life that I want. And it came at a huge, well, it wasn't a price yet, but it was a risk, a massive risk of losing what I wanted most to get what I wanted most. This is what happens when you dare to ask for what you want. There is a risk. There's a huge risk that you won't get it. You know, the upside is that you might. And you never know unless you ask for it. And for now, I got what I wanted. And it was hard. And it was worth it. That's what we're talking about today. We're talking about risk, courage, walking through fear. You know, Fred Rogers has a quote, "Everything mentionable is manageable." That's what we do when we communicate. That's what we do. You might not think that you can bring up or talk about what you want to talk about, but you can. You can. All right, let's see. I think I have a slide for you here. Yeah. Thanks for bearing with me. I'm not used to doing this on a laptop. Well, before that, there was this little guy here. So the goal of communication: get your needs met. Desires, needs, and dreams. We all have unmet needs. Either the needs aren't clear to you, or you're scared of asking for them to be met, for fear of rejection, judgment, abandonment, or looking too needy. Often learning to identify those needs and finding the language and the courage to express them can have a life-changing impact on your life. Life-changing. That's why you're here, right? To change your life, to upgrade your communication, to have healthier relationships through communication. I would scream this if I could, but I'm not going to. All your needs are valid. Every single one of them is valid. No one can tell you that your needs aren't valid or important. Humans are needy. That's what makes us human. It's natural to have needs. It's natural to have needs. And your needs are as important as somebody else's. This is really important. This is primordial. If you don't believe that your needs are valid, you're not going to speak up for yourself or stick up for them or ask them to be met. They're all valid. Christina said, "I struggle with communicating my needs for consistent quality in-person time and steady, consistent communication. I'm afraid the other person will think I'm clingy, needy, lonely, or desperate." Does anybody resonate with that? With the fear of being seen as clingy, needy, or desperate? Yeah. So people that call you too needy are people that don't know how to set proper boundaries, something that you will learn here. Don't know how to say no with love, also something that you will learn here. And can't hold space for your needs. That's if they say you're too needy in the first place. But oftentimes I'm guessing you're the one telling yourself that you're too needy. And you're not. So just because all of your needs are valid doesn't mean that everyone can meet them. Sometimes your needs are in conflict with somebody else's. What do we do then? We talk about it. We adjust. We compromise. We come up with something that works for both people. Sometimes we accept that that need won't be met through this person. Sometimes they leave or we leave. That also happens. Communication will allow us to figure out how can we get these needs met, especially when they're in conflict with somebody else's needs that are important to you as well. Okay, here you go. Here's a question for everybody. Name a need that you have that is currently unmet. Go ahead and chat it. Personal space, physical touch, intellectual stimulation, hugs, double hugs, affection, personal space, to be thanked, hugs, touch, to be heard, to feel loved, touch. Now, a lot of people want to be touched, especially now. Yeah. Touch, sexual expression, someone to share a life with. Yeah. If you're watching this as a recording, go to the chat log, watch what people are saying. You're not alone. This right here should show you that you're not alone. That all your needs are valid, that people share your same needs. So real quick, let's just do really quickly 5 steps to getting your needs met. Number 1, identify those needs. Hopefully throughout this workshop, you'll hear what others need. You'll reflect on your own needs and desires, and you'll start to get more clarity on what is important to you. Some people say, well, I don't actually know what my needs are. Okay, well, start paying attention to what you want and what you don't want. Because oftentimes you know what you don't want. Well, the opposite of that is what you want. And that can be a need. Also, write that shit down. Like, open up a little notes app on your phone and say, these are my needs, and start writing a list of things as they come up. I need to feel respected. I need presence in my communication. I need admiration when I do something good. I need words of affirmation when I do something good. I need touch. Start writing these things down so that you can get clear about what it is that you want and what it is that you need. Once you have that, you're in a better position to make those requests. Step 2, find a variety of ways of getting those needs met. I'll take touch as an example. This is sort of the example that I talk about often. If you have a need for physical touch, there are other ways than your partner making love to you or touching you to have that need met. If it's actually touch, then you can, well, not right now, but normally you could join like an acro yoga class, or you can get a massage, or you can join a jujitsu gym. There are ways for you to get touch. You can invite your friend over, and I did a podcast on platonic touch and like massage. You can go to a cuddle party. There are ways to have touch so that that need gets met in a way that's not what you thought it was. Now, when you said touch, what you might have really meant was physical intimacy, more sex with my partner, in which case the need is more sex, not touch. So it's important to get clear on exactly what is that need, and we'll talk about that more, especially tomorrow next week, as we go into how to make requests for those needs and how to get really specific about what that need is. Step 3, that's what today is all about. How to muster up the courage to have that conversation, that difficult conversation. So muster up the courage, walk through the fear of doing it. Come up with the language to talk about it. We will come up with so much language to talk about all of your needs and all of your requests and all of your desires. And sometimes, yeah, having the language helps. It really does help. Because you can start getting into your head about, well, what if I said it this way or this way or this way? You know, as a side note, I would rather you get it wrong and try than not try at all. Healthy communication doesn't always have to be smooth and eloquent and exquisite. I'd rather it be authentic and a little rough than for you not to do it at all because you don't think that it's just right. I'd rather you try and get it completely wrong than not try at all. Lastly, let go of the outcome of that conversation, whether they say yes, no, or maybe to your request. The point is to have the conversation. It's not to get them to do what you want them to do. I have a sponsor who talks about wearing life like a loose-fitting sweater. And I used to have a cashmere hoodie that was real floppy, like total yogi, leather feather type of garment. And it was just super flowy, and that's how you want to wear life, right? You want to be able to flow with it, to adjust, to attune, to go with it. I want to let go of the outcome. It's not my job. I can't control that. I can control my actions and my reactions. That's it. Can't control anybody. So we have to let go. And oftentimes the pain of holding on, I mean, that's what hurts, is holding on and not getting what you want. All right. I can't see what that says. Oh, right. So the goal of communication, getting your desires, needs, and dreams met, what you want, what you need. Second goal of communication is closeness and connection. Communication allows us to be closer to people and to build connection. When we share with others what's going on with us, it lets them know what's going on, lets them get to know us better. I had a therapist, Dr. Jay Talkoff, who would say, the more you communicate, the more they communicate. So obvious, so basic. The more you share, the more they share. The more you talk, the more they talk. Hopefully. I know that some of you are in a relationship or have experience with folks that just aren't talkers. And there are some things that we can do to encourage them to communicate, but if it goes against their nature, if they're not talkers, then there's not much you can do. And yeah, Chantel says, what if they're shut down and non-communicators? You can inspire them. You can make requests for more communication. But if they shut down, they shut down. There are things that are outside the scope of this workshop, like deep emotional trauma, that we cannot address with healthy communication. Sometimes we're in relationship with people that have blocks that prevent them from connecting. And in that case, sometimes third-party professionals need to get involved. You can only do so much. This isn't a magic pill. There's no shortcut to this stuff. You're all here because you want to learn this. If your person is shut down and a non-communicator, then you're going to struggle. And that's sort of the way it is. I mean, we can do our best to try to communicate in ways that feel safe for the other person. But if they don't feel safe, no matter what you do, there's nothing you can do about it. You're already doing your part. You're doing your part by being here. They also have to do their part. When you communicate openly, you share with others the stories that have shaped you. You give them meaning. They begin to understand who you are and why you do the things you do. It's beautiful. It fosters closeness and connection. It develops intimacy, right? Intimacy is just a way of saying closeness. Emotional, physical, intellectual closeness. And I want that for you. Emily says, my fear is if I don't speak up about when something makes me feel in the moment, then I'm somehow relinquishing power. Knowing what is mine, what is his, and what is ours, that's a real struggle. And it's okay to not know what you feel in the moment. And not everything has to be communicated in the moment. Sometimes you need 2 days to let it all settle for you to figure out what you're feeling. Oftentimes you need time to figure out what's going on. Time alone, in reflection, exercise, some way. Doesn't always have to be communicated all the time or right away. Oh, here's a little bit of a caveat. You can't open up to everyone. Some folks are not safe for you to open up to. They can't hold space for your emotions, and they can't hold your heart the way it needs holding. That's okay. Your goal is to find people that you can be safe opening up to. And unfortunately, the number of people in your life that you can feel really safe opening up to is probably not large. It's probably only just a few people. And that's okay. Jen says, what if unsafe people are immediate family? That limits the topics that you can talk about with your family. That's all. Family is a tough one. And just because they're your family doesn't mean that you need to connect with them in a way that is intimate. You know, friends are your chosen family. I would invite you to build your own family of people that you can trust and connect with. I'd have to say that oftentimes unsafe people are our family. They grew up in a different generation. They don't value, generally speaking, open, honest, vulnerable, intimate communication. They never learned this at all, for sure. They didn't attend a workshop on healthy communication, and they didn't get it from their parents. So it would make sense that your immediate family isn't safe. It would make sense. And if you are lucky to have a safe family, that's a blessing. It's really a blessing. And also we'll talk about ways that we can like explore safety with people. So another goal of communication is to feel safe in your relationships, because you deserve safety and respect. And your needs for safety and respect might be different than somebody else's, which is why you communicating what is important to you and what makes you feel safe is crucial. The safer you feel, the deeper you can go. And one of the ways of feeling safe is speaking up when somebody does something that you don't like. How can people adjust to you if you don't tell them, if you don't let them know? They can't. And I know it's hard to bring up behaviors that hurt you for fear of abandonment, retaliation, of being hurt, of hurting somebody else's feelings. But when you fail to communicate what's going on with you, you're the one who loses. It's at your expense. You're putting their perceived need for comfort, right? I don't want to tell this person that they hurt me because I don't want to hurt their feelings. You're putting their need for comfort above your need for safety. So you need to start speaking up for yourself. My need is that you start speaking up for yourself without pushing people away. And small caveat, watch what happens when you start speaking up for yourself. If it's not something you're used to doing, people are they might get defensive. They might not understand it because you're behaving in a way that they've never seen before. And we'll be able to address exactly that, but watch how people react when you start standing up for yourself. In a respectful way, of course. Do they get defensive? Do they threaten? Do they feel threatened? Do they lash out? Do they freeze? Do they flee? Do they fight? Because it's important for you to find folks that you can meet, or that can meet you with understanding and kindness, even if they feel uncomfortable. That's what holding space means. Wow, I'm uncomfortable, and I'm still going to sit here and be here for you. Let's see, what do we have here? Oh yeah. Let me just share this with you. You are 100% responsible for your needs and your desires and your dreams. This means speaking up for what you want, what you need, what does and does not work for you. This is really important. If you don't advocate for your needs, who will? Nobody. Nobody. It's not their job. It's your job. And I would say that it's the most important job that you have. Your role models didn't show you how to do it. Your caretakers probably didn't show you how to do this. And so we're left to figure this out on our own. And that's why you're here. And I'm glad you're here. No one can read your mind. Not even if you've been with your partner for 20 years. People have no idea what's going on with you unless you let them know. It'd be great if we could all rely on nonverbal, but we can't. It's not reliable. We can sometimes, but for the purposes of this workshop, we are not relying on nonverbal at all. This is an important point. You are responsible for your life. And the people in your life are responsible for theirs. How can you get more sex if you don't dare to ask for it? Sophie perked up at that one. How can you have more space and alone time to recharge so that you can show up for your loved ones with an open and full heart if you don't ask for it? How can you live in harmony with the loved ones, with your loved ones, if you can't tell them when they're being hurtful or inconsiderate? How can you ask for more quality time if you're scared of them saying no? And how can you do anything if fear gets in the way every single time? Let's look at that fear. Got a question for you. What are you scared of? What are you scared of when it comes to communication? And I'm going to take about a minute to go over the chat while you answer that. Rejection, aggressive retaliation, not being taken seriously because I don't take myself seriously. Rejection, abandonment, being shamed, anger, being seen, wow, hurting someone, or them lashing out, or being left, disappointing others, being misunderstood, being considered needy, rejection, 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 abandonment. Wow. To be disliked, being told you're too sensitive. Yeah. We're all in this together. These fears are incredibly common. They're almost universal truths. I'm going to share some answers from a question that I asked in the group yesterday. It's hard for me to communicate how I'm feeling. I really avoid conflict to the point of being passive. Then I end up being passive aggressive. And I want to get comfortable being assertive, especially when I'm vulnerable. Yeah. When we open up, we become vulnerable. We open ourselves up to being hurt. I'm scared of expressing my feelings or asking for what I want for fear of it being ignored or dismissed and how much that hurts. I'm scared of having a conversation when I feel hurt by someone because I think I'll ruin the entire relationship and I don't want to lose them. So I had a thought this morning while I was walking my dog. If your relationship is so precarious that talking about a feeling or how somebody hurt you makes them run away, then that might not be a relationship worth prioritizing. If talking about a feeling or asking for a need makes them leave, I don't want to say good, but that creates space in your life for someone that does value intimacy and connection and communication and can hold space for difficult feelings. And I know it's hard. So courage isn't the absence of fear. It's doing the thing anyways and being scared. In 12-step recovery, they say the opposite of fear is faith. Because when you do something that you're scared of doing, like all of these conversations that we're going to be talking about, and you come out the other side and you experience in your body that you are not dead, then you have more data to support that doing scary stuff won't kill you. And you start to build an overflow of faith. You can then lean on these experiences. Oh yeah, when I did that thing, when I had that scary that scary conversation about wanting more quality time, and the person said, okay, yeah, let's do that. You can now lean on that experience. The last time I did that, I thought it was going to be bad, and it wasn't that bad. I'm still alive. That's how you build up your overflow of faith and of courage. Also, when you fail to communicate, actually, small side note, I'm going to go over 10 minutes. If you need to leave, just leave and you can catch the recording of the last 10 minutes. When you fail to communicate a need or a desire, you're not even giving the other person a chance to say yes. You're saying no for them. I wrote, you're cock blocking yourself from getting what you want. You're not giving them the opportunity to say yes. How can you build the kind of life that you want, that you dream of, if you don't dare to ask for it? Your loved ones, for the most part, want to meet your needs. They do. They really do. They want to meet your needs. They want to be there for you. And we'll talk about this next time. There's a way to make your requests, saying, I need respect. That's hard to meet. But saying, I'd love it if, when we talked, you put your phone away and you just listened and didn't try to, offer solutions or advice. That makes me feel respected. Huge difference. And don't worry, we're going to go deep on how to make all of those requests. And when you don't make the request, you're not giving them the opportunity to say yes. And I know the more requests you make, the more opportunities for rejection I know. And that's the game. There's no avoiding this, by the way. Sorry. I don't have a shortcut to making requests that will always be met. It doesn't exist. Ingrid says, I'm scared to say that I'm attracted to someone. The fear of rejection. Rationally, I know that at least I'll know where I stand, but emotionally, it's a struggle. The fear of rejection isn't rational. Very few fears are rational. They're leftover imprints from old stories and old traumas. And yeah, to a certain degree, they do keep us safe. But sometimes they keep us too safe. And we have to figure out ways to ask for what we want, what we need in safe ways with safe people, so that we can change that old story that if I ask for something, I'll be rejected. When you get rejected, then it's going to happen. And it's kind of a strong word for someone just saying no, right? Because that's what it is. You'll say, hey, I'd really love it if on Sundays we can give each other massages, just half an hour. And they'll say like, yeah, I don't really want to do that. That's a rejection. When they say no, it creates space for you in your life because you have an answer. You know how they feel. You know whether they're able to meet that need or not. And if the answer is no, then you can find a creative way to get that need met elsewhere. Make sure you look at the resource document. There are additional games and bonus content. There's a video I made on IGTV called Rejection Isn't Personal. I call it the Hawaiian pizza principle. So there are other resources in there that I won't have time to cover. But basically, rejection isn't personal. It's just somebody saying, yeah, I don't want that. I can't do that. They're not saying you're a bad person. They're not saying no to you as a person. They're saying no to you as, they're saying no to your request for whatever it is that you've requested. And if you make a request and the person says, no, I don't like you as a person, well, then that's not somebody that you want to be in relationship with. These are not people that you want in your life. The goal is to cultivate a small group of people that you can feel safe connecting with, sharing intimately with, vulnerably with. It's going to be a small group, and that's okay. The fear of being too needy is the fear of inadequacy. It could all really boil down to like a fear of inadequacy. I'm inadequate. If I'm too much, that means I'm not enough. If I'm too much of this, I'm not enough of this. If I'm too energetic, it means I'm not chill enough. And I'm going to mispronounce this name. Shunryu Suzuki, author of Zen Mind's Beginner's Mind. Each of you is perfect the way you are. And you could use a little improvement. You're perfect just the way you are. You don't have to make any massive changes to you as a person to get the love that you deserve. All we're doing here is making small adjustments to how you connect and how you communicate with people. That's what we're doing. If you are too much, If someone says that you're too much for them, well, you are. You're too much for them. You're not too much in general. And if someone says you're not enough for them, believe them. You're not enough for them. But you'll be just right for the right people. We're not talking about massive adjustments to who we are as people. We're fine-tuning. Because deep down, you're a great person and you are perfect just the way you are. And you could use a little fine-tuning. So when anyone says that you're too needy, or there's a fear of being too needy, it's not true. It's not true. We're just fine-tuning so that we can like get a stronger signal with the people that we're in relationship with, or that we want to be in relationship with. And this goes for work. This goes for platonic relationships, romantic relationships. We're just fine-tuning the way we connect with people. I'm going to wrap this up. We're not meant for everyone. You are not meant for everyone. Can you imagine if you were? How exhausting that would be? I have a finite amount of energy for people. So my goal is to prioritize the people that can best meet my needs. The other people that sort of meet my needs, if I can, this is going to sound so bad. If I can replace them with someone who can better meet my needs, I will. And that sounds like people are disposable, and that's not what I mean. They're not. But sometimes they're not a good fit for you. And we're going to stress test a lot of relationships throughout this workshop. We're going to come up with ways for you to ask for your needs to be met, and some people are not going to be able to handle that. Well, it's going to give you a lot of information about that relationship. This is not easy work. Having these conversations isn't easy. It's simple. They're simple. I'll show you a multitude of very simple ways. There's nothing easy about this work. And you might lose people. And people might say no. But I bet you that a lot of people will say yes to a lot of the needs that you have. And if they say no, a lot of those people aren't saying no to you. I forgot to do the mid-workshop stretching. I'm going to do that now. A few more minutes for closing remarks. I want you to show people who you really are. And we do that by asking and talking about our feelings and talking about how people affect us. The more you communicate, the more you show who you are. And when you don't, well, it lacks authenticity. When you hide parts of yourself, you're not being as authentic as you could be. And I want you to be authentic. In the resource document, there are additional resources, books, podcasts, IGTV videos that might be useful. If you have questions, I'm going to take all the questions. I know people asked a bunch of questions. I wasn't able to get to any of them. I realize that. I will answer them in the resource document. And if you have questions, ask them in the Lovebird Club and people can chime in. So, one sec. I would really love it if, by the way, that's one of the things you're going to learn is to say, I would really love it if you could fill out this feedback form. It means a lot to me. And it's really important. I put it in the, oops, I just sent it privately to one person. Sorry, Rosalind. It helps a lot. If you could take 3 minutes to fill it out, it would mean the world to me. Go through the resource document. highlight any sections that you didn't understand and leave me a comment and I'll answer them. And do your homework. Let me share the homework with you. Oops. Where are you? There you are. So join the Lovebird Club if you haven't already. Leave some feedback, find a study buddy, and then answer the following 2 questions, which should already be live in the Lovebird Club. What is so scary about communicating your needs? Right? So if you say, well, I have a fear of rejection, answer, what is so scary about that? This is a game I call What's So Scary About That, where you just keep asking what's so scary about that and keep going and going deeper and deeper and deeper until you get to the bottom truth. So what is so scary about communicating your needs? Second question, name a specific request for a need that you can make to a specific person in your life that would change your life for the better. You don't have to have this perfect. Say it the way you would say it. Because I'm going to take those examples and incorporate them in the workshop. We're going to use those examples to do the following couple days. These are your homework questions. Let's see. Oh yeah, one other thing. I want to take a screenshot of all of your beautiful faces. If you don't want to be in this, then turn your video off or log off the call because we're done here, but I want a screenshot of all these faces. And if you want to change your name, get your last name off of your screen, that would be awesome. Go to the little 3 dots, click the 3 dots and click rename. I'm going to do a few of you. Okay, everybody here is down for the screenshot. It's, wow. It is so beautiful to see all your faces. And there's a cat. Half of you have pets for sure. Hold on. Thank you for humoring me. This is really beautiful. Thank you, every single one of you, for showing up and for doing this work. It means a lot to me. If there's any way that I can support you further, don't hesitate to reach out. You know how to get a hold of me. And do your homework. And I'll see you in the Lovebird Club, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.